Ho, 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 cheeky monkeys.
Toppy.
It's Bergkamp.
#FuckHeaders.
That's magnificent.
Hello, John. Up and down.
Well done. Bye-bye.
Be like the Arsenal. Be ambitious. Come on.
Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland, an Arsenal podcast special. Why is it special, I hear you ask? Well, it's not really that special because I'm hosting it, which automatically means it's less special than normal. However, we are doing this show really just to kind of fill the gap because everybody knows that international football sucks and nobody really likes it. Nobody really watches it unless, of course, you follow France. But we'll leave that one there before people start throwing rocks at me. So we thought we'd fill the gap with a little bit of kind of slightly off-piste discussion. What I mean by that is not so much Arsenal linked, as it were, but more general football and in particular the gaming community. So first of all, I shall indigest, maybe, I don't know. I shall introduce rather Mr. Josh Dorr, who will be accompanying me from the ABW side this evening at very last minute. Hello, Josh.
Hello. I will also be enjoying international football of the persuasion of England.
Good. Well, I'm pleased that you can do that. I think you're one of few, but you never know. Who are they playing? Is it Kosovo or somebody? Or...
We've got Czechia.
Oh, good.
And so Petr Cech will come back for some point, and the mighty nation of Montenegro, I believe.
Two
but,
powerhouses.
But France, you got Iceland, haven't you?
And Moldova.
You drew 2-2 with them last time. Oof.
Yeah. Everybody knows it doesn't count unless it's the World Cup or the European Championships. But anyway, I digress. Right, let's introduce our guest this evening. You might know him as King Flipper, possibly. We're going to call him Gaz for this evening. He is a YouTube content creator, CEO of his own channels and his own content. So let's say hello. Hi, Gaz. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you very much for coming on, mate. Just because obviously some people will not be familiar with your work and what sort of things you do. I've obviously said that you're on YouTube. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, who you support. That might be given away by the accent slightly. And how did you get into the world of YouTube?
Oh, well, let's start off with let's go international football first. I'm not interested in it. We've already qualified and there we go. That's it. It's simple as that. There's nothing else we're looking forward to. It's like, there we go. We qualified already. What's the point? But yeah, I'm an Aston Villa fan. The right side of the second city derby. But most of you would have seen what happened in that derby a few weeks ago, which didn't go well. And to start with the YouTube stuff, it was actually most of you should know him. Most of you, I don't think you will. KSI, most of you will know.
Yeah,
him?
I think most people know.
Yeah,
vaguely, yeah.
I mean, the old KSI. I'm not on about the one now that does all the boxing and all that. Let's not talk about that. But the old KSI did all the FIFA videos, and I loved that stuff, and I wanted to get into it, and that's how I started it. And just I grinded my ass off, and I'm nearly at 15,000 subscribers now, 2.5 years in, and I've got a good community.
Doing well. And the banner of Fresh Fox, that's where sort of the overall channel, as it were, is that right?
Yeah, Fresh Fox, actually, that happened, how long ago now? It's probably been about a year ago. Someone come to me, asked them to go in 3 ways with Fresh Fox it's a small esports team. And I said, yeah. And somehow I've rolled out to becoming the CEO of it now. I have no idea how, but let's go with that. I deal with only really the FIFA side of it. So we've got a few pro clubs teams. We've got a few teams, a few people that play the FUT champion sides of it and stuff like that. Just people who want to get into esports. We're like a developer team. We'll take on people who don't really have the skill to jump into the big teams of esports. We'll help them pay for entries and entry fees and stuff like that. And if they get any further, we'll pay to a certain extent to their LAN tournaments where they have to go, like different places and stuff like that. We do also have a few other teams sometimes, but at the moment, our Xbox One Pro Clubs team, they've just completed. I think they've just finished top of the one league. And I think they're in another league at the moment, but they're in the Premier League of the VFL sport pro clubs. and they're playing like the proper like pros. So we're really happy about that. And yeah, that's pretty much it with Fresh Fox.
Good stuff. Yeah, it's good exposure, isn't it? When you can sort of build off of channels and bring other channels into one. So it's quite a good thing. Like you say, being dropped in as a CEO, I think, remember when we started doing this podcast, I think it was Danny and 2 others, and now we're a team of it's about 14, 15 of us in rotation. So things grow. Speaking of things sort of growing, the main thing we wanted to talk about tonight is obviously we're an Arsenal podcast, so we're all kind of football fans in general. We like to think so anyway. And a few of us play the popular video game FIFA, FIFA 19 as it is currently. That's where a lot of your subscribers and viewers come from playing the game. We're going to cover a couple of different areas of this, but I think probably the main focus of gameplay for people is Ultimate Team. What's your kind of overall view of how the game as a whole has expanded? I remember playing it as FIFA International Soccer back on the Mega Drive. I think it was 1994, where you could throw the keeper over. It was brilliant fun. You could block the goalkeeper kicks. Great times. It's evolved quite a lot, hasn't it? What do you make of the kind of evolution of FIFA as a game?
I even remember where you can actually run away from the referee and you don't get a card.
Couldn't book you yet.
Couldn't book you. I mean, gaming now has progressed so far over the year. You can just see the graphic-wise. If you look at something like on PS3, if you look at FIFA, the FIFAs and previous on PlayStation 3 and PS2, you can see the difference they've created. Obviously, since FIFA Ultimate Team come out back in 2009, because it's now FUT birthday's coming tomorrow. I don't know when this is being brought out, because it's 10 years of FUT birthday. There's doing a special thing for it, but 10 years have been going that. FIFA's grown so much since then. It's become massive. Since 17, since they brought the FUT Champions out, though, it has dropped a bit because it's a little bit too competitive now. There's no fun side to it. That's the problem with FIFA now, unfortunately. But you've still got pro clubs, you've still got online seasons. They're still decent, but it's all about the FUT Champions. Most people play the Ultimate Team.
Yeah, true that. Josh, let me bring you in here because you play pro clubs, don't you, with a couple of our other members and whatnot. What's your overall sort of experience been? And I know you've got quite a lot of questions for Gaz, so feel free to splice a couple of those in as we go. But what's your overall kind of feelings on the game this year?
Yeah, I mean, my first one that I got would have been FIFA 2003, I think. So it would have been about 12 at the time when I got that one. Mainly through playing career, and then Ultimate Team I kind of dabbled with, but I never really got into that whole style of play. I almost prefer to control my team a little bit more through that kind of career mode. And whilst it was good in that early time, it was an easy gameplay to go with, and moved on to pro clubs. So that's with Ellis. Who else have we got in there? Stefan Selby, Akib. We've got Chris Lodato, Walrus and the Hedgehog. They're all in. I'm sure I've missed a couple in that FIFA group as well, but all really great guys. And yeah, really enjoy that kind of situation for online gaming. That really broke me into that kind of collaborative part of FIFA. But with the game this season, I think there's been general issues, I think, with gameplay, as well as just a lot of hype around features that weren't really features. I think the things around like the Champions League and the Europa League, that they've got licensing for it. Like, well, I don't really care, to be honest, because you still had European competitions in, say, career mode. So you didn't really gain anything in there. I don't know if Gaz or Kris, you play career mode.
I have, but is it something you've dabbled in, Gaz, before sort of FUT Champs and Ultimate Team?
So with the Champions League and the Europa stuff, he was right. They gained the licenses to them. He's right about seasons and all that. They did the Champions League and the Europa stuff anyhow. Basically, what they did on the Ultimate Team side is they just brought out another version of card where they'd be able to make more money off people spending FIFA points. Simple as. It was just another way for them to bring out an upgraded card where they knew they could make more money out of it. That's the problem with EA this year, unfortunately.
Yeah. And on career mode, is that something you've ever gone into at all, or have you tried that particularly this year? Because I must admit, it's something. It was always the mode I wanted to play, mainly because I was terrible online, so I just played offline. But career mode has been one of those issues that's been broken for a long time. I think we actually had a question from one of our listeners, which I must try and find in a minute. But is that something you've dabbled in this year at all?
I've not dabbled in it this year, career mode. I have dabbled. I mean, FIFA. I remember my best career time when I played my favourite career mode was FIFA 2008. I remember that was my favourite career mode. But career mode hasn't really changed much over the years. It's pretty much been a good solid base. If you're not the best and you're not really into a lot of internet gaming, career mode is a good way to start playing FIFA. It's a good way to get skills, and it's just a good way to get used to the way you play and stuff like that. And I've not really played with, so I don't know what the gameplay is like this year, but the gameplay is slightly different. I know that. I played pro clubs. I actually played pro clubs yesterday. It was actually quite fun.
There you go, Josh. So, what's your experience been? Because was it actually yourself? It might have been yourself, actually, Josh, that said career mode was broken this year. So, what draws you to pro clubs more than career mode or Ultimate Team?
Well, I think I'll always buy FIFA primarily for the career mode, and anything off the back of it is then a bonus from where I see it. But with pro clubs, it's that kind of, it's online play, but you're also playing with your mates. It's one of those that, FIFA, offline play, when your mates were over, it was always, okay, there's 6 of you in the house. Well, only 2 of you are playing FIFA at any one time. One of you's Real Madrid, one of you's Barcelona. But allowing one of you, all 6 of you to kind of be part of a team, literally, as well as metaphorically. Just playing FIFA that way, I just find far more enjoyable, and you kind of take pleasure in all playing for the same team as well. So it's that different kind of competitiveness, I should say, from that. In terms of what's wrong with career mode, I mean, I could probably do a monologue podcast for a good 3 hours on the problems with career mode. It's one of those that it's not improved at all, but it's also regressed massively in terms of not just the gameplay, but in terms of what you can actually do. I remember being able to sign up sponsors.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Career modes of old. No, it doesn't exist anymore. Can't do that. Even just the minor features like lounge mode, which was one of the offline modes. That was great for setting up quick tournaments, and I think there's just a number of things that, we know how online is, where gaming is now. Google Stadia being a big thing of that whole kind of streaming gaming service now. It's everything's going to be online, so I don't want to sound like almost like a gaming dinosaur.
No, I actually agree with you, because as you said about career mode and any offline game mode now on FIFA, I mean, they're not interested in that. They're interested in the online. The Ultimate Team is their main. They want that. That's where they try and put the most into, even though it's still rubbish. To make the most money for themselves. Anything else, they'll put second. They'll put second best.
How do you when you're doing your streams, guys? Because I freely admit I only found you sort of I say recently, back end of last year, start of this, and that was mainly because I finished a job and I've been out of work for a little while, and when you're sort of bored, you tend to flick through YouTube channels and see what you can find, and I came across yourself and the Panthers and Canadian Nick, as I call him, and I found it. I just find it. It sounds really cheesy, but I almost sort of see you guys as like my compliment to the day. Where you can just sort of kick back and watch a stream. If you're playing the game yourself, it's nice to have background and you obviously stream rewards, that kind of thing. What sort of drew you to want to do that in terms of YouTube? Was it your love of the game itself? And because obviously you said yourself before we recorded, you're quite a passionate gamer. So is that what drew you towards doing YouTube streaming and getting an audience?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a gamer all my life, pretty much. And FIFA as I said, since FIFA Ultimate Team, I've pretty much played every year. And I have a love and passion for football. I have a love and passion for my gaming. So FIFA obviously is my main thing. A lot of people come into my streams. I mean, they have recently. It's like, why are you still playing FUT Champs? Why are you still playing FIFA? It's rubbish. I says, yeah, I know it's rubbish, but I still enjoy playing the game. I can still play it I used to play for hours on end, but this year I've been able to play it for a couple of hours, and then I've got to turn it off. Otherwise, my controller's going to end up in the TV or something like that. But the core of my YouTube channel is FIFA. And also people say to me when I play other games, it's like, you're playing a dead game. I says, I don't care. I will play what I want to play. If people want to watch it, they can. But if you don't have to. That's what I tell them.
Yeah, it's a good way to be, isn't it? And in terms of the audience yourself, you got a few regulars, all have their own sort of individual personalities and nicknames. Crambo's always the one that makes me chuckle because he's always there, rain or shine. How do you kind of find the audience generally? Because we all, obviously doing this podcast as we do, we have a Twitter account, and generally we get pretty decent comments, but we all live in this world now where social media is very easy to be, shall we say, disrespectful or a little bit toxic. Do you find you get a bit of that, or is it mainly just people there for a chuckle?
Yeah, I have a lot of toxic people. Not in a bad way. I mean, they do it behind my back, and they think they can get away with it, not realizing that other people know me are going to send me messages. I actually had one recently. One of my mods. Yeah, I've already given him a warning. One of my mods has been a little bit of a naughty boy.
You can swear on this if you want to. It's fine.
Yeah, sorry. And I've told him, it's like, look, here's your warning. If you do it again, you're in trouble. I'll remove your mod. He did it again. Someone sent me pictures of this, and it's like, right, I removed your mod. Since then, he's been behaved. But the thing is, these people that send me stuff like that, they're actually people that have been in my community for time. This is the thing. It's like, here we go again. But most of the community is sound. You'll get the random people come in that have never watched me before, come in, see that I'm losing, and they come in and say, you shit. My mods will literally either time them out or ban them. But if I ever see one that says, cheers, mate, thanks for the view, thanks for the like or dislike, see you later, I don't really care. I'm not interested in people like that. As you said, the internet now, it's easy to be just behind a screen. You can just say whatever you want. And you know you can get away with it. And the thing is, you've got to take everything with a pinch of salt. Everything with a pinch of salt on internet, especially YouTube. Jeez.
Yeah, we've had a few. I say generally you get fairly good comments, but particularly when you do live shows, as a sort of an Arsenal themed podcast, you'll always get the odd Spurs fan nip in or a United fan or God knows what. And yeah, very very easy to block people these days, isn't it? It's a wonderful world.
I get that with Blues. I mean, I get that with Blues fans, West Brom fans, Wolves fans. As I said, I'll just take them a picture of salt, so sand.
Yeah, and away you go.
Yeah.
Josh, back over to you. In terms of sort of playing the game this season, so you obviously you're not doing too much of the Ultimate Team thing this year. Is there a reason why you haven't dabbled into, like Gaz was saying, kind of the pay to win environment? Is it that you wouldn't want to pay into a game for better players or better cards? Is it that you don't want to sort of put money into it, or is it just not an area of the game that interests you this year?
I think I did used to play Ultimate Team. I would have been back in kind of my uni years when you've got back when the best way to succeed in Ultimate Team was to grind your way up the levels, was just by purely playing games. And yeah, you could put in part of your student loan to help you get a couple of packs, but my luck is awful anyway, so it was just burning money. So in that kind of respect, it was fine. My options were grinding or playing the transfer market, which I think was probably one of the best ways of, if you weren't that good at it, well, you find a Daniel Sturridge who's cheap. You can tell back how long ago I was playing Ultimate Team when Daniel Sturridge was a card that people wanted. But, you pick him up for a good 1,000 coins and because you're doing it on like a Thursday afternoon, you go and sell him on the Saturday where you can demand 5,000, and that way you can kind of build your way up. But then FIFA, EA brought in the whole. They start managing it. They say to stop, people selling coins and trying to sell, Christian Fuchs for 1 million coins. That kind of system. But really, it just, for me, ruined that whole transfer market by them going, well, these are now the set prices for these players. And a lot of people if they couldn't put the time investment to grind their way up, that was how they were progressing with the game and getting points, was through manipulation of the transfer market and just by playing and selling well. And I think it was when they did that, maybe I was a little bit annoyed because I might have had about 11 storages at the time and was looking to sell it that weekend when they then immediately put the ban in, and I'd lost a shed load of money because of the boundaries and what I'd paid for them, because he suddenly was now only worth 3,000 when I could have sold him for 10 that weekend. It was that part of the game that really became frustrating for me and really confirmed it was that just a pure money-making machine, and I completely fell out of love with it.
Yeah.
With what Josh was saying is that this year they've been really strict with the EA transfer market, really strict. Even I've been banned a couple of times for half an hour because when I'm doing like my SBCs or even investments, only small investments where I'm trying to pick up a player, if I'm trying to snipe a player, if you do it too quickly, they'll ban you for half an hour. It's like, how much? And you can't sell, you can't buy. It's like, oh, that's great. But Josh is right. Trading is a great way to make a lot of coins to help your team, but you need a lot of time and effort to do it. There's a lot of time into it and to do stuff like that. As I said, you can't go too far into it anymore because EA is so strict on the transfer market this year. It's unbelievable. I'm going to admit now, I have spent £700 on this game.
Wow. I'm probably not far behind you since it came out. It's
not good. And then you think to yourself, that's just FIFA 19. I spent less FIFA 18, but it was a few £100. And I know, I say to myself, I'm not going to buy any FIFA points. I guarantee I'll end up buying FIFA points for Team of the Season, because I'll probably end up will. And FIFA 20, I guarantee I'll buy FIFA points for it as well. But I do admit, I wouldn't spend nowhere near as much on the game if I wasn't a YouTuber.
Yeah, I suppose that's the way you got to look at it, isn't it? It's you're making content, whereas like for me, I've got no excuse. I'm just a bloke in a bedroom playing a game that's going to get me absolutely nowhere. But like you say, I suppose there is that need as a content creator to do that. When you sort of take on the game itself, because if you look at it, I mean, even the price of the game now, you're talking £100 if you want the early access and you want the packs and the bonus packs, etc. That's £100. Do you think there is a bit of a pressure for people to almost sort of start young now, because we don't have the competitors really now, do we? PES has sort of dropped off the face of the earth. I know there is still one out there, but it's not been the game it was before. I think we had what was the one on was it SNES? I think it was before. Was it Pro Evo? I think it was Pro Evo. Yeah, well, there you go. Exactly. There were 5 or 6 different titles you could buy. Now you've literally got FIFA is the one with all the licensing.
It's FIFA and Pro Evo. That's it.
Yeah, is a bit of a pressure on people, and is it in some ways almost a dangerous market for people to get young kids who nick their dad's credit cards, to quote the example, putting money on? Is there a little bit of a danger that gaming can go out of the safety net in terms of FIFA?
Oh, definitely. Gaming can definitely get out of hand. It's been on the news before. Kids have got a hold of people's credit cards. They spend an arm and a leg on gaming additions, stuff like that. I think FIFA should go. I think EA should go the way they've done of Apex Legends, which is actually another EA game, which is completely free, like Fortnite. They should bring the game out for free, and they should do something like a battle pass. They'd make more money that way, and then people could play it for free and wouldn't have to spend anything on it.
Yeah. And Josh, you just made the point there. In fact, I'll let you say, because I'd be interested to get Gaz's view on this.
I was going to say, I think it was Belgium banned FIFA points because of that thing of it's a +3 game, but in theory it's a form of gambling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just wondering what your thoughts on that, Gaz.
I agree. I feel sorry because I know a few people in Belgium that have been banned. Was it Belgium? Yeah, I think it is Belgium. There is another country as well that it's supposed to be
Holland, isn't
happening
it?
to. Holland.
Yeah.
The Netherlands.
Netherlands, yeah.
Yeah, the Netherlands. Actually, sorry, I don't know anyone in Belgium. I know someone in the Netherlands. He was a little bit worried he was, but he doesn't play FIFA that much anymore because he doesn't like it, which most people don't really anymore. But I agree, it is a form of gambling. You're spending money on something to open packs, which you're not guaranteed to get anything good. They tried to adjust it by bringing in pack percentages. They show the pack percentages what you're going to pull. The thing is, though, they're crafty in showing. They change what numbers they show you, what rating you can pull, and when they bring out a special card, they just say less than 1%. I'm sorry, but that's not good enough. You need to tell us exactly what percent it is, not less than 1%. You could show us a 0.9%, or you could show us a 0.01% of packing something. It's not right. It's still wrong. I agree. It is a form of gambling. It shouldn't even be in the game.
And the other thing I have an issue with that percentage thing as well is that as a grown man of 36 now, unless the percentages are 80 to 90%, anything 50% or below isn't really going to change my mind. If I've made my mind up, I'm going to open a pack. I'm going to open a pack. Like and I think we saw it recently with the Carnival promo, which myself and Jeff, the other chap who plays from Canada, who I speak to regularly, we didn't buy into this promo at all because it just struck me that as much as EA have been really good this year with content, and they have provided a lot of content, this promo just stank of, we need something to fill the gap before FUT birthday. We've done team of the season, team of the year, and we just need to make some money. And the pack weight from like yourself and Nep and a few others that I've watched, Matt HD Gamer, their packs were terrible during this promo. Nothing was in them.
Abysmal. I've seen hardly anyone pack anything decent. Speaking of that, I don't know what you call them, but we call them Optimus Primes in the FIFA community. Basically, another way of them making money. There was actually a big conversation about this. Who was it? Matty HD. I don't know if you know who he is. Another big FIFA YouTuber talking about 99 Palais, which is another Optimus Prime icon. He's on the market, but a lot of people talking is like, no one has proven that card has actually been packed. I'm not being funny. If it doesn't matter if you're a YouTuber, a normal person, or something like that, someone is defo going to take a picture or a video of them pulling a 99 rated card that is worth 10 million coins to even your mates. That card, a lot of people, I think I agree with a lot of people saying that card was put on the market by EA themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, because like you say, it just hasn't showed up anywhere, has it? Nobody has. And the Prime icons or the Optimus Prime icons that come out, for someone like myself, I mean, I packed Rui Costa this season. That's the only one I pulled, and I sold him straight away. And since then, I went back and did his SBC and got him back. But that basically is the reason I've got 1.8 million coins now, because I sold him, and that's the bulk of my coins, and I built that up. But these Optimus Prime icons were, again, for me, it was just like, we're going to give you, was it the Zanetti card that is actually his stats were exactly the same or very, very similar?
Yeah, but as a different position, that was it.
A different position. And it's just like, and that's the only other thing I've noticed this year, compared to other years. People are doing a lot of drafts at the moment, looking at old FIFAs and draft. The ratings of the cards are going through the roof this year. And there's a lot of talk, Josh, you might have seen this as well, that they might go down the Madden route, where there's cards that come at a base rate and you can improve them. And that they're talking about that for FIFA 20. Josh, let me get your thoughts on that first of all. Is that something you'd like to see come in, where you can have a selection of cards and certain card types can be improved stats over a period of time by, for example, you score 40 goals, you get a 1 boost on shooting, or, you know, pass percent completion, that sort of thing. Is that something you'd like to see with cards upgraded next year?
Yeah, I think something that brings it back down to ability is what makes you a better FIFA player, rather than the size of your wallet. I suppose we could say that about football in the real sense as well, that, the teams up at the top of the table generally have a larger wallet than the teams nearer the bottom of the table. But in general, I think, being able to, training in FIFA is probably one of the buggiest, or should I say overpowered things you can do in the game. I'm currently going through be a pro career, and after one season, and just by going through training, 5 training sessions a week, you go from 71 rated to about 90 in the space of a season. I don't think even Kylian Mbappe in his breakthrough season at Monaco saw any kind of jump in FIFA rating like that. Even through, special cards in Ultimate Team, I wouldn't have expected him to have gone from, lower end silver to best card in the game fundamentally. So I think if they do it right, and there's, it's all based on, play a number of passes, and it can't be manipulated other than you just purely playing games, then I think it's totally a way to, it makes more sense. It would be something that would bring me back into the game, that, there's no way I'm going to be able to grind my way up for, 1 million coins to be picking out the top rated players. And, it is all luck when it comes to packing them. But if I can get someone that's at a 70s or something, and they can grow to a mid 80s, then absolutely.
Is that something you'd be on board with as well, Gaz? Because it would at least bring the one of the biggest frustrations I have when I play FUT Champs, albeit badly, is I'm in Division 6 because that's how bad I am. Even players in Division 6 I'm playing, you just see the same players in everyone's team week after week. And that's one thing I like about your videos, that I think even this past few weeks you tried the Brazilian teams, and you like to change it up a little bit. And, you've gone from the Socrates to get your walkers out. So you change players quite regularly. And that would at least promote people where you might come up against, I don't know, a Millwall fan with a Millwall player in their midfield who they've built up to be an 80-odd rated player because of their love of the game. Is that something that you could see coming in and that you'd quite like to have?
I think that would be the best move FIFA would ever have done. Defo. I agree with what you said. You pretty much see the same players on pretty much everyone's teams. Defense, your defense is mainly Courtois, Varane, and Ramos. That's your main thing you see at the back. You'll see most of the same strikers and stuff like that. I think I agree. What they should do is they should be able to get like your players that you pull, like, let's say, just say an 82 rated Vardy. You should do like try and grind your way out. It's like getting passes, doing shooting, targets, goals, stuff like that. It increases the player over time. And if you want to sell him, the person who buys him, it goes back to the original stats, so they have to do it yet again.
Yeah, that's the perfect way of doing it, isn't it? Otherwise you would, because otherwise there'd be a manipulation on the market again, wouldn't there? People buying certain players that have been upgraded. Yeah, it's a perfect idea. And just while we're on that subject as well, the promos this year, what's sort of been your favourite? What's been the pluses and minuses? Because like you say, we're recording this on the eve of FUT birthday. For some strange reason, I've saved 58 packs for tomorrow. I have this funny feeling I'll pack nothing because that's just the way luck goes, but mainly because I've been bored and I've just saved packs up. But that one has been quite widely hyped, and then you got Team of the Season. Has there been a promo you've particularly enjoyed, or one that you've really not liked this year that's worked or not worked?
I think the Carnival one has actually been quite a surprise. I think it's been quite decent because they've dropped a lot of SBCs. I'm not interested in what players they bring out because you're just never going to pack any of them, as you found out. But it's the SBCs I like. I like them bringing out SBCs where you've got a chance you can actually buy a player, or you can actually get a loan version of a certain player as well. You got your normal, your Team of the Year, your FUT birthday has been quite hype because it's the 10th year one and they've brought it out the past couple of years anyhow. So stuff like that. And then obviously Team of the Season will be the biggest one at the end of the year because the cards will be insane. The stats will be great. And there's always a lot to pack. So that'll be a good one. And I've got a few people that have already saved packs. They've already got FIFA points ready for to me open at 6 o'clock. So I'll be looking forward to that. Hopefully I can pack something decent for someone, because it doesn't even matter if I pack it for myself or someone else. It's on stream. I love it when I pack anyone a decent card. It's just really good.
Yeah, is that something you like as well, Josh? Because obviously that's kind of the online gaming sort of thing. It is almost like that buzz of getting something good. When you played Ultimate Team, was that the sort of thing that got you coming back when you said about doing the grinding and things like bronze pack method and stuff like that? The opportunity to pack something good, and it's just that little kind of endorphin rush, isn't it, of getting something good? Is that something that you've missed being away from Ultimate Team?
I wouldn't say I missed it, but it was something I did enjoy, getting. It was even to the point where, Kris, I know you'll certainly get with this, with what I'm saying, is when you celebrate packing Harry Kane, because you can sell him for a lot.
Yeah.
You're thinking,
straight out,
why am I celebrating a Spurs player at all? And it's just something that got me with that. I remember, getting inform Willian and just being elated because I can then sell him because I don't like him. But it just seems very backwards that would be the kind of mentality from packing a good player that would help my team. But I think it's that whilst you're kind of grinding through and you're ending up with players you don't really know, don't really care for, it's just players that, you're getting either basic players from you or aren't even from English leagues. You're getting, people from the Polish first division, which, although I may call myself a football hipster, is not a league I've paid particular attention to. So it's playing with these kind of unknowns is that kind of, what's the word? Kind of the problem with packing. It's just a case of, oh, great, I've got a guy that I'm not really that au fait, I don't really care about, but I'm going to have to use him in my team. It's where I probably fell to wanting to go to the transfer market because I want to build a team out of players that I know roughly what kind of team I want to build. How I want to build it.
It's quite fun. As I'm watching back, I've watched a few of the old videos that Gaz has done, and particularly Neps as well, where you go back and watch the first few weeks of this year's FUT, and you see people getting really excited over packing Fred, or and it's like how times change now. Even just getting a walkout, you're like, oh, well, it's not a decent walkout, so I'm not really interested. And obviously, that is the way the game goes. Market kind of drops through the floor, but that's kind of how things go.
I think my favourite moment in terms of packing a player was actually a game I wasn't playing, and was when I was watching Danny on a stream on Twitch. I'm not sure if he can remember if he's listening. When I guessed correctly the player that would walk out.
What's the chances?
I know, named Gary Medell. That's where I ended up with the nickname on the pod, Mystic Josh.
How right?
In a stream, Danny asked, who do you think the star player is going to be in this pack? And, no insider knowledge, I throw Gary Medell out there because, that's my kind of luck when I get an all-gold pack.
the worst.
Gary Medell is the best player that will come out of my entire pack.
To be honest, I agree with Josh. I have a few people in the chat. I asked them, I says, what are we going to get out of this chat? And to be honest, when someone gets it right, it is actually pretty cool. It's amazing when someone gets it like, oh my God, you actually got it right. And there is a bit of buzz, to be honest, behind it.
Yeah.
Equally, it's terrible when you see that French flag and CDM and it's not Kante. The troll ones are just the worst.
Tweedy.
Oh, Tweedy, yeah, just the worst ones. It's really frustrating. Or team of the week, and you think it's going to be a magical player, and it's just somebody from the Saudi 4th division.
Talking about the animation this year is absolutely abysmal.
Not a fan.
Not a fan of this animation this year at all.
Is that because you can see what's coming, or just
I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like that I know what's coming. I'd just rather see the pack the same as anything, but either an 80 rated card or a 90 rated card. I'd like to just see the same animation, and then if it's a good card, then he walks out. Not a different like board, or it's the circle below lights up, and it's a special thing. I just want it to show it's either a good card or a bad card. And if it's a good card and someone walks out, then they walk out after you've seen the card.
Yeah, not a bad idea. The graphics and people say about this, the menus of the game this year have been, I think, particularly good in terms of how you're able to navigate around. I quite like the new transfer or the trade pile system this year seems to be better, despite having wrestles with it and quick selling far too many things at the start of the game by mistake. That seems to be quite a nice way. I just want to ask you both, in terms of either FUT or the game as a whole, are there any things you would really like to change that are excluding the gameplay? Because I think we all know it's broken. And I think we have got a couple of questions we'll touch on in a minute about that. But any little changes you'd like to make? For example, I've got massive OCD. I'd like to be able to change players' boots in game. I know that's really, really sad, but that's just me.
Agree. That would be a good one. A lot of people would do that, and they could another way. They could actually do a market on that, like they do with footballs and badges and kits.
Yeah.
Do boots.
Buy boots. Yeah, I completely agree. They brought in numbers, didn't they? Because it never used to be able to change your numbers, and you'd have like a number of 14 in goal, and it'd be like, okay, or number 1 up front. But
there's a few people that do that.
Yeah, you get a lot of stick for putting the right numbers in, but that's my OCD. I can't help it. Is there any other things you'd like to change in either the menus or sort of about FUT in general?
Josh, you can start with that one if you want.
Well, I mean,
list.
I suppose that's one of the upsides of career mode. You can change the boots because there's the player option. But you've got to unlock that through the God knows how many FIFA points that aren't FIFA points, catalog points that I've amassed over the years, which basically means I can financially take over, I think, about for the next 2,000 years. I can buy those out of the catalog. But yeah, I think there's some things that need to be almost refined. The scouting system in career mode is possibly one of the worst things I've seen. It takes too long, in my mind, to really get any tangible results from it. And there's the other big bug, but then that might be gameplay, is how every big team rests all their players throughout the season. It's crazy. So say I'm playing as Arsenal as I want, and I go and play Man United in the season. Well, Lukaku, Pogba, Rashford's, even if I'm lucky, like De Gea might be on their bench, and they're playing, kids. Maitland Greenwood. Yeah, I was trying to think any that was still there. I was going to put Amos in goal, but yeah. So it'd be someone like Mason Greenwood would be in their midfield instead of Paul Pogba, and you're like, this just isn't realistic and completely kills any joy in that game. And to be honest, I think is where how they've made kind of career mode poor and where people have dropped out of the game quicker. I think although gameplay has had an overarching effect on it, poor gameplay can be overridden if, the career mode was good. But because both have been terrible this year, and, it works vice versa. If career mode was terrible, but if you're in games constantly, they're great to play in. You would at least allow one or the other to slip. But because both have slipped, I think that's where we've got more of a louder voice of dissent this year from fans of FIFA, where they've said everything is terrible.
Everything is shite. And the way that teams like, you get halfway through the season in career mode, I've noticed, and Man City are 5th and Everton are top, and you're like, how is this remotely realistic? I don't understand. What about yourself, Gaz? I guess yours is probably more an ultimate team thing. Any sort of small changes or big changes you'd make?
I agree with what you say, that they have done well with the menus and stuff like that. The only thing I'd change is the transfer market to search either rares or non-rares.
Yes.
That would be the most important thing I'd like them to put in. Other than that, they should just keep the rest of the menus is buzzing. I'm happy with it. Just bring in so I can search rare gold or non-rare gold in the transfer market. I'd be happy.
Even if you could search by rating, that would be quite good as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be good.
Like 71, 73.
Foot whiz and foot head and or foot bin and stuff like that.
Because there's talk that they are potentially considering the idea of getting rid of bronze and silvers next year. I can't see that coming, because if you just have 3 types of gold, it just doesn't individualize it enough. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Sometimes I do wonder if the good folks at EA think we haven't changed anything for a while. What can we mess about with?
Just a quick question on that as well. Back when I was playing Ultimate Team, I sound like a grandpa saying this, even though I'm pretty sure I can put, place my bets. I'm probably the youngest on this show. But do you still enjoy playing, with just an all-silver team? And is there a benefit to doing that anymore?
No. They last year, they did have FUT Champions weekends where you had to play with a silver team, where there was a set requirement. You couldn't play with any gold players. You had to play with a silver team. This year, the only time you played with silver players is with when they bring out a special card. So as the carnivals just come out to get like the Talisca, to get the Chan card and get the Weir card, you had to play with a full silver bronze team, a full Brazilian silver team, a full German silver team, which it's decent, but until you find out, because of the market, all of the players are like 5 to 10k each, because people are obviously going to want to make money off it. The EA that's again EA being silly, because they knew straight away doing stuff like that, the market's going to go straight through the roof, and people are going to want to buy the players to do the objective. I think as I said before, FIFA's too competitive. Like the FUT Champs is too competitive. They should do. You've got your FUT Champs of your main stuff, and they should do like a set requirement FUT Champs where you should play with only bronze players, only a set rating, only silver players. So it makes it more equal. So you haven't got all these people where you're coming up against people with 10 icon cards, and you're thinking, and you've got a full gold team. It's like, how am I supposed to play against that?
Yeah, so true. It's a weird one, because sometimes you match up with somebody and you think, oh god, they're going to be amazing. They've got these fantastic players, and they're terrible, and you think, okay, how's that happened? And then other times you look at their squads, you think, oh yes, an 83 rated, and they absolutely smash you, and you just think, how does this work? I can only assume people do manipulate divisions slightly in terms of where they're going up and down. Just before we take some questions, which I know are sort of FIFA heavy, I just want to sort of talk football in general. As you know, Gaz, this is sort of we're an Arsenal podcast as our main day job, if you will. You being a Villa fan, it's two sort of different opposite ends of the spectrum at the moment, although quite a lot of similarities in terms of expectations of clubs and sort of, maybe we're both not at our highest points at this point in time. How are things at Villa this season? How's the Championship been? And what's your sort of overall feeling on the club at the moment?
Well, our defence is non-existent. We have no defence whatsoever. It's either injured or we're just playing about 5 left-backs. Our centre-backs are injured. Our strike force is amazing. We're one of the best. We've got the best, I think we're 3rd or 4th in the goal total in the Championship. As I said, defence, I think we're like the 4th from bottom with goals conceded. So we are 6th at the moment, I think, which is decent considering we did have a bad run of form until recently, where I think we've won 3 or 4 on the bounce. So the way it's going, it looks like we're going to be playoffs again, but I can just see it's going to be just a replay again of last year. We'll get to the final and end up losing again.
Think positive. What if any, have you got sort of any memories of games with Arsenal in the past, or anything that comes to mind? We shared a couple, didn't we, pre-record back in the good old days?
Just mainly when we normally lose against you.
but you remember that 3-2 win when you beat us?
Yeah.
Was it 96?
Yeah, I was quite young then, but like I remember my dad talking about it. But most of mine is anything really between the 2000s to 2010s. I mean, my best memories is when we were finishing 6th 3 years in a row when we were under Martin O'Neill.
Yeah.
And then since then, it's just gone backwards.
Where do you stand on the argument of, because I'll maybe let Josh ask you a couple of bits because he follows the Championship closely. What's your sort of feeling on, in terms of, there's a lot of supporters of clubs in the Championship that says, actually, do you know what? We quite like it in the Championship. Every game is different. The style of football is different. It's more fun. Or would you rather be in the big time and maybe 16th, 17th and fighting to stay up there?
I know what you mean. A lot of people say the Championship's an easy league. It's not an easy league. People say it's an easy league. I'd like to see some of the Prem teams see what they think about the Championship. I'd like to. Obviously, Villa are a big club. They should be in the Premier League. I would prefer to see them fighting for 15th, 14th, 13th, something like between 10th and 15th. I'd rather see them there than us finishing in the playoffs every season in the Championship.
Be interesting, wouldn't it, just to see that different side of things? What's your thoughts, Josh, on, as a man who watches a lot of Championship football, from an outsider's perspective, anything that you've noticed about Villa this year and anything you might want to ask us?
I mean, one of the main things was, after the switch of manager and just that big, it's an exciting place to go, Villa Park, this season for goals. Not necessarily, as you kind of alluded to, scoring and conceding. I suppose one of the questions I had, because I've not watched a huge amount of Villa this season, other than wanting, Jack Grealish to come to the Premier League again to show what he can do. One of the players I've watched closely at previous lights would have been Tommy Elphick. And how has he been for Villa?
He was on loan, wasn't he, the first half of the year, if I remember right? Was he on loan? I know he only played, I think, a couple of games, and I think he's injured. Look at the rest of that defence.
Yeah.
I don't rate Elphick. He's not one of me. He's never been top. He's not a James Chester. I've never rated him, really.
I shot you down in flames there, Josh, didn't it?
Sorry.
I mean, he was great for Brighton. Then he left to go to Bournemouth, and after that, it was an interesting time when you switch for a team that, is promotion rivals at the time, and just wondering how he'd kind of progressed after going to Villa and
backwards,
going down.
Yeah.
But I think, as we were talking about pre-pod, that kind of Irish-English midfield that you've got in there with Hourihane and Jack Grealish. I think, Kris, I remember us talking, almost every week when we were doing, the Hipsters pod about Conor Hourihane and what a player he is for Villa. I think, guys, what the kind of players that you've got in there, do you see that I think one of the things you need in a Championship side is you can see at least 4 or 5 Premier League quality players in that side.
Yeah,
is that something you can see?
I agree with that now with the Championship. You do need a few Premier League players to stay up in the top half of that table. The table is so close at the moment. It just shows that you need quality now. The Championship, when it first changed from when it went from Division 1 to the Championship, it was scruffy. But over the recent years, I'd say the past 5+ years, the performance of the teams is high quality compared to what it used to be. The gameplay
standards gone up, hasn't it? Standards of football has gone up massively. Yeah, I'm so like we said pre-pod, there's certain teams you look at in the Championship, and even as low as League One, where you look at, you go, they're Premier League sides. And I think Villa are one of those. Obviously, Leeds being another. Sheffield Wednesday we mentioned. There's a few that just have no business being in the division below. And I'd quite like to get rid of a few teams from the Premier League and replace them with the likes of Villa, because I just don't like them. But that's just me.
Spurs don't count.
Damn it, Burnley as well.
I don't think they're not good. They're not that bad.
No, not quite. But we can get rid of Burnley and Huddersfield and see where we go from there. Let's finish up with some questions then. These will probably be going back more towards the FIFA direction. Josh, we can sort of tag team a bit if you like here. The first one I'll take is from Carl Palmer, and he said, what would be your ideal improvements to the core game, and how much do you think you've spent on Ultimate Team in total? So we've established 700 quid this year. I prefer not to know how much I've spent, but what do you think about the core of the game? This probably touches a bit more on the gameplay side of things as well.
The gameplay needs refining. That's the main issue. The thing is, there's too many people that know how to exploit the game. I think it was about a month or 2 ago, they did a big update where they removed time finesse shots because it was too overpowered. But they removed that, and then they've made heading way too overpowered. So they've gone from one end of the spectrum to the other. And the thing is, they need to just refine the game. They just need to refine the passes, the pace problem with the defenders and the actual strikers and the goalkeepers. Oh my God! Let's not talk about goalkeepers.
No, let's not.
But if they could refine them, the gameplay would be more tolerable.
Yeah, Chris Pepperline mentioned that same thing about the centre backs being faster than attacking players with 94 pace. It's just so infuriating. The other one I wanted to ask you about, actually, before I let Josh take the next question, do you? I call them press monkeys. Will you come up against players that just press the shit out of you from the first minute to the last, and they never seem to lose stamina? Is there some kind of glitch that I'm missing here, or how do people do this?
I don't find it that much in FUT Champions online. If you play squad battles, you will. Squad battles, it's just mad. It's just unbelievable how you're playing against players that are 75 rated and don't have a lot of stamina, and then at the end of the game, they have more stamina than you. They're pushing all the time, and it's unreal. But online, I don't really have that. To be honest, it's the opposite way around on FUT Champions, I think. A lot of people don't push. They like to sit back.
Drop back, yeah.
They like to drop back, take the ball off you, and then run up the field and score. And then they'll drop back so you can't get through their defence.
Yeah, it's the overpowered one depth drop back, isn't it? Yeah, which is the other. And of course, those people that I've had a few of these this week where my controller is very close to going out the window that just score the same goal over and over again.
Oh, I hate sweats. I hate sweats.
So frustrating. Josh, do you want to take one of the questions?
Yeah, absolutely. Which one shall I take? I think we go over for Drew's question. Let's go. Hang on. Danny has put in Drew's response to my question, and it's not a question.
Brilliant. You can give both if you want.
Well, my question isn't in there, and it's not in my head either. So I think the question will go from the normal Gooner for you, Gazboss. I find that correct question is, what do you think of Tottenham?
I mean, their new stadium's as bad as their team, leaky. Have you seen that video?
Yeah,
unbelievable.
just pouring out.
It's just pouring out. It's like, that's a brand. How much is that stadium? I mean, Jesus Christ. Spurs are bottlers. They're one of the biggest bottlers at the moment. Recently, they had a chance that they could have won the league, and they've just gone tits up. You know,
it's the right answer.
I do have my question now as well. Because Chris, I don't think I need to ask you that question.
No,
I think it's well documented, should we say? It's the politest term for it. So my question was, why is FIFA so catastrophically shit this year?
As I said, it's gone backwards. Every year they do the same thing. The worst thing they did, which they shouldn't have done, is they changed the defense. They changed the defending. Defending last year, they changed because everyone complained about it because the AI was defending. They changed it. They actually changed it back where you had to defend. So everyone thought FIFA 19, they're going to stick with that where you defend. Oh, no. They went back to the AI defending. Everyone hates that with a passion. It's the worst thing that messed this game up from the start. And since then, every time they do an update, it just goes backwards.
I think I prefer AI because at least there's an AI control defending, because at least, I mean, I always switch into my defenders, which I know is the reason I'm probably terrible, because it's all my own errors then, and then I shout at the computer even though it's my own fault. But I think at least there's a little bit of skill. I think there's something doesn't feel right for me taking my hands away from the controller and letting the AI do it for me. You know, it's just something doesn't feel right about that.
Oh, you shouldn't be doing that.
No.
There is then, I suppose, a follow-on question to that of what FIFA was it? Where they moved from the kind of traditional defending to the tactical one.
Yeah.
It was 18.
Was it 18? Yeah, because I stopped playing in 17. I just came back this year.
It was what's the word? It was like a soft launch, wasn't it? You didn't have to do it, and then they made it permanent.
Then they made it permanent, yeah.
What was your thought on that kind of change?
I didn't like it. 17, since I started YouTube, 17 was my best FIFA I played on stream and stuff like that. Even though I was the worst at FIFA 17. Each year I've gotten better because obviously I play it more because obviously I'm streaming it more. But 17 was still I preferred the gameplay of 17 Then it dropped down a level to 18, and 19. It's just even lower now.
Yeah. We had another good question actually here, which was one of the first questions we got from Mike Hertz, which is another thing that interests me because I feel his pain on this one. He says, as a FIFA player, do you believe 2-minute halves would be better for FIFA career mode? I'm going to stretch that to FUT mode as well. Do you think it would help move things along a bit faster? Particularly I know, Gaz, you're one of the few players that I watch stream, that I play squad battles as you do, just to get those few extra coins a week. It's just a bonus. But I do find the games do drag on, and I do think a 15-minute game is a bit much, even when you're skipping celebrations. Would you do that 2-minute halves thing?
I agree with. I don't agree with. I agree with the career mode. I think the career mode, like the where you have to sim it. I think it's better to play them than sim them. 2 minutes would be good because people would rather play them. I agree with squad battles as well. Squad battles is so daunting. It's unbelievable. It's just so boring. Even if they went to 4 minutes a half, at least then you've got an 8 to 10 minute game instead of 15-minute game. It's a bit quicker. It's less daunting, stuff like that. FUT Champions, no, it will never change. It will stay 6 minutes a half, which I don't mind because it's the online way of it. It's different. You're always playing someone different. The gameplay is always different. But when you're playing the computer, it's like, here we go, same stuff again.
Yeah, here goes the grind. Yeah, no, I completely agree with that one. Josh, did you want to ask Danny's question? One of his sensible ones.
Oh,
if you can find one.
One from Danny.
The one about why we can't make a game.
Yes, yes, the question: why can't FIFA make a version of the game using the controls that Sensible Soccer used? Shoot, pass, tackle, and after touch. Nothing else.
I agree with that. I think they've made skills way too overpowered because you see players do use skills in real life, but it's nowhere near as much as you can get away with using it in a game. FIFA's meant to be a realistic game. It's meant to be based on the actual real football, but it isn't. There's just too many exploits. There's too many people skilling. You see people like I've seen goalkeepers skilling. It's like, I mean, why is a goalkeeper skilling? They don't do that in real life. It's just way too overpowered. They need to nerf it.
It's like the bicycle kicks from defenders. I think you see at least 3 of those in a FIFA game. I possibly see that once a month in, a whole division's worth of games, that one time a defender will clear it with a bicycle kick.
It's just mad. That's when FIFA 19 first came out. It was unreal how easy it was to like bicycle kick with anyone. It's like, okay, they did the update, but you can still do it. They just nerfed it, but you can still do it.
I'm terrible because I think I would just get rid of skill moves altogether, because as soon as I play somebody online who starts doing flick ups and tricks, I will inevitably end up with 4 red cards because I just can't stand it. And I know it's terrible, but
I agree with that. I mean, I get really mad with it, but the thing is, I've got so used to people using the same skill move.
Yeah,
you actually know what they're going to do, which is good for me because I get angry at it, but 9 times out of 10, I normally defend them. The 1 time out of 10, they normally score with the blooming thing.
You just stand up and just let them do all the fancy stuff, and they often then can't shoot.
And then, that's what I mean. You stand there, they're fancy, and it's like, are you going to come? And then they come to you, and then you're just like, sound. I'll have the ball back off you. See you later. Pass properly, shoot properly. There you go. There's a goal.
Yeah, slack cricket or El Tornado cross, and that's about it, isn't it? Yeah, ball rolls. Yeah, same old shit. What else have we got here? Liam wanted to know what your favourite cheese was. Interesting question.
You did? No, I already said that pre-record. It was, what was it? Was it Applewood smoked cheddar?
Josh, have you got one to rival that?
It would be a cheddar as well, but that's I've got a lot of skin in that game as being from that part of the country.
I'm going Port Salut on that one, I'm afraid. Blows you all out.
Of course you would.
Only because I only recently found it. But this one's probably more for you, Josh, although I can kind of ping it Gaz's way as well. Josh, do you, and I certainly do, and Gaz, do you discard rival cards? I know recently you Did you not pack Che Adams in form?
I want to throw it in a bin.
I'm the same. I did a draft earlier on, and I had Heung-min Son and Vertonghen in the same team, and I felt dirty. And I just wanted to throw. There's something about I have to get rid of Spurs players. Do you do that with Blues players? I suppose it's a little bit different because they're lesser cards, but
yeah, I get rid of Blues players. Unfortunately, the ones that I packed Che Adams on, unfortunately, they weren't my account, so I couldn't get rid of them. Yeah, if I see a Blues card in my team, it's like, yeah, see you later, bye bye.
Yeah, we got quite a strict rule, haven't we, Josh, in terms of the fantasy football team, which has been broken a few times this year.
The thing is, though, is that with Spurs players, if I was an anti-Spurs supporter, if I pack Harry Kane, I wouldn't just quick sell him because, now I would because he's only worth. Actually, I don't know how much he's worth. But when they first come out, I wouldn't have quick sold 150k's worth of player.
Oh God, no! I think I got Ericsson just before Christmas and I made 70k off him, and that was fine, no problem. Or I mean, the lower cards I might stick around the club for SBCs, but generally it's as soon as I can get them out the door, they're gone. So
yeah, I mean that's the only.
I certainly couldn't have. I've noticed Nepo's obviously an Arsenal fan. I've noticed he has a lot of. Used that Son card a lot, and it made me feel quite uncomfortable. So
I wouldn't have done that if I would never, even if it was a 90 rated Blues card, I would have sold it to use something else.
Me too. There's other options at the end of the day that you can use. Yeah, I completely agree with that one. Josh, have you got any others?
So I think we got another one from Mike Hertz. I think I read that eventually EA was going to release bi-weekly and just do software updates. The years they don't do a hard copy of the game. Somebody plays career about 90% of the time. I do wish they would put some effort into it. Some things that bother me, some don't bother me as much, like the congested calendar thing, for example. I suppose that's a question going for, more of a statement. But in terms of how FIFA kind of gets released, kind of chatted, I think, pre-pod, might have been during the show as well, about EA's kind of release method and how we've seen people like, Fortnite, Apex Legends doing their releases. How could you see that working in a FIFA model, Gaz?
I don't know if you've seen any of the concepts. That's it. I don't know because I know if I follow a few traders and stuff like that, and I have seen a couple of concepts where they could easily go down the way of Fortnite and Apex Legends and Rocket League because they do a pass where the game's free, but you pay £10 for 3 months. You've got to imagine the game's normally out for a year. If they do a battle pass every 3 months and charge you £10 a month, you pay for the game. So and more people are going to buy it because it's completely free. So yeah, maybe at the end of, let's say, 9 months down the line, you're not going to get as many people you buying the battle whatever they're going to call it, the pass. But at the start of FIFA, you're going to make so much more money because people are thinking, hang on, FIFA's free. We can play FIFA for free. And it's only a tenner for 3 months. You're going to make more money that way. And in that way, state of form, they could easily get away with saying, oh, we don't need FIFA points. Because you have to grind out in that pass to level up to a certain point where you get packs out of it. Instead of having to pay for FIFA points to get the packs. They could go that way easily.
And surely there's going to become a time fairly soon where the game is just a standard game and they just update the players every year. That will surely come because there's only so many changes that they can make, and unless they actually get the gameplay right, heaven forbid, because of patches, they can just update it every season now, can't they? And it seems, I think this year, or was it last year? Because I bought FIFA last year, but I hardly played it, and I almost didn't buy it this year. I'm glad I did because it's filled the gaps. But I think it's the first year this year that I've actually bought it directly from the store rather than going out, and that's mainly because I'm old school and I still like to buy CDs. But it's just so much more convenient now, isn't it? Everything through the store, everything online, everything through a card, bang, done, isn't it? It's just so much easier. It seems to be the way the game is going.
I still like to buy my games on discs. FIFA I don't. FIFA's digital because obviously I buy the early access one, so I get it early.
Yeah,
I don't agree with that, but it's another way for them to make more money, obviously. It should be the game comes out exactly the same for everyone, no matter what edition you get. But unfortunately, that ain't going to change because it's another way EA are making more money. So
yeah, money talks.
Yeah, correct.
Anything else we got there, Josh?
No, I think that was everything. The other bits and pieces we've got in were just more debate.
Cool.
Really, I think, as I say, we could do a whole show on career mode and what's wrong with it. And I believe there's many threads on it as well. But in terms of, kind of gameplay, I suppose just one other question, I think for general one, would be, guys, who's your favourite player to play with and favourite formation?
Past and present, if you like.
Yeah.
Oh, past and present.
What's my favourite team as well? I could put in there as well.
My FIFA 17, it was Dwight Gale. Team of the season, Dwight Gale. I called him Superman Dwight Gale. A lot of my OGs will remember him. He was an insane card for me. Just always bang goals in for me. My most favourite player that I've used the past few years is actually Musa.
Musa. I knew that was coming.
Love the Musa card. It's so overpowered. It's unbelievable. Formations, to be honest, my normal go-to is 4-3-1-2, but I've gone back to I'm going to do it. I'm going to use it this weekend. 4-2-3-1. I actually did a draft video, and I actually I had a 4-2-3-1 formation, and I actually did well with it. So I'm going to go back to it because I did originally have 4-2-3-1, and it is a decent formation. It seems to work for me, so that's what I'm going to use.
I like the 4-5-1 standard myself. I know it's not the best one to use because it leaves you horribly exposed in midfield, but I just like the two cams and the two wide players. Yeah. And because I can't defend for Toffee, I might as well just go all out anyway. So that's kind of
3-5-2.
I've been experimenting with that in draft, but I can't get to grips with the back three for where I just can't seem to. I don't know what it is. I just can't seem to grip it properly. I don't know why, but I think it's because I'm just so set in my ways in 4-5-1 now that that's kind of where I'm going. But Danny's just chipped in from behind the scenes saying he can only use 3 at the back. Yeah, he hasn't bought it this year yet. So,
to be honest, I'm a 4-2-2-2.
Oh, you're one of those, yeah.
Yeah, that formation that you don't see outside of South America, basically. That seems really overpowered for that kind of stuff. I think I'd say that also kind of works for clubs as well because of that kind of group that you're with. It's sometimes difficult to accommodate. Everybody wants to be a striker. It's the same as when you're playing football as kids. Everyone wanted to be up front and no one wanted to be a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And if someone comes in and says, "Oh, I've got a mate who wants to be a goalkeeper," you're like, "Oh, are you one of those that likes to wear tracky bottoms, goalkeeper, or are you actually any good?"
Yeah, true story. We'll finish on this one. I played a team in squad battles a few weeks ago, and I think it had 16 chemistry, and a goalkeeper was playing left back in his tracky bottoms. Fantastic stuff. You can't beat that, can you? Brilliant. Okay, well, just give you a chance, guys, if you want to just plug your Twitter handle, anything you've got going on, let people know where they can find you on YouTube, and anything else that you want to plug, feel free.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to obviously watch us, my YouTube channel is just literally King Flipper. It's easy to spell. And my Twitter is my go-to where I keep people up to date and stuff like that. And it's literally King Flipper _. There we go. Nice and easy, that one.
Fantastic. And do you stream on average once every day?
If
not twice a day? Yeah,
I stream once a day. At the moment, I'm off because of my leg. So I'm streaming a lot. I do a lot of grinding, to be honest. I put a lot of effort into the game. A lot of people realise that, but I enjoy it, so I don't mind doing it.
Good stuff. There was just one other question that we missed, so I will just chuck this one at you. It was from Ant. How do you beat scripting, in inverted commas? EA denies it exists.
Scripting is there. I don't care what EA say. It's just a load of waffle. Unfortunately, there is no way to beat it, though. I mean, you can learn the ways of manipulating the game, as Kris has said about it. People know how to bend the game to the way they play, and you'll always see it because they know how the AI will work. Unfortunately, you can't do much about it because you're only working one player at the time. They know how to run. They know how to mess around with like what the AI is going to do. They've spent a lot of time watching the game, and that's how they manipulate it. But unfortunately, scripting will always be there, no matter what they try and say. So unfortunately, that's gonna stick.
Yep. Here. And Josh, I will thank you for stepping in at short notice tonight. Much appreciated. Added a little bit of colour to the pod for us. So thank you very much for stepping in.
It's been a pleasure and great to talk FIFA with fellow FIFA rights.
Absolutely, yes. Long-suffering community that we are. If you have enjoyed this podcast, please do feel free to let us know. Give us a little bit of feedback, if you will. If you didn't, don't, because we don't want to hear that. No, in all seriousness, if you have enjoyed having Gaz on, we'd obviously like to get you back at some point, Gaz, possibly around the time FIFA 20 comes out, so we can all have a good moan about what they've done wrong this year. And who knows, we might do another roundtable at some point with a couple of other YouTubers if we can find them lurking around. So thank you very much. That's all right. Then we'll get you use your powers of persuasion to get them on as well. But thanks for coming on tonight. I really, really appreciate it, and certainly we wish Villa all the best in their quest for the playoffs, if that's the way it's got to be.
Yeah, man, no problem. My pleasure.
Good stuff. Thank you very much. So that was a Bergkamp Wonderland, slightly different Arsenal, non-Arsenal edition. Thank you very much for tuning in. And until next time, just avoid the international football. Keep on your PlayStations, everybody. Night-night.
Or Xbox.
I had to get that in, didn't you?
Well, I mean, some of us have got a superior console.